Honestly, if it weren't for the fact that I was trying to watch everything Drawn Together related, then quite frankly I would have ignored this movie. For those unaware, Drawn Together is an animated comedy reality show that airs on Comedy Central, featuring many parodies of cartoon characters. Even though it isn't the best cartoon to air on Comedy Central, South Park still holds that trophy. I think that it's a decent show with its memorable, albeit purposefully unlikable characters, nice animation, and great dark jokes throughout the series that definitely makes South Park look like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Now, as for the movie that came out 3 years after the series was cancelled, well, I honestly didn't know what to expect, having never seen anything from it. However, I did expect it to be bad, on account of how many people have talked about this in a negative light. And now that I saw the movie in its entirety, honestly, I can see why both fans and non-fans had a disdain towards this movie. The story is about how the characters from Drawn Together can say swear words uncensored, and later on they discover that their series had been cancelled, so the Drawn Together gang go off on a road trip to Make a Point Land to attempt to get back on the air. Meanwhile, the network head learns that the housemates are all still alive and brings in a robot called Israel, voiced by Seth MacFarlane, to finish them off at all costs. Now, a story like that is pretty simple and sounds like a good idea in concept, but in execution, oh boy. This movie loves to drag on. Despite this movie only being 71 minutes long, it's a chore to sit through. There were many moments where the movie just stops and I was just sitting down waiting for things to happen, such as when they dragged out pronunciations, the part where Jew producer was asking his neighbor to answer his phone, that sex scene with Toot and Foxy, or worst of all, the part where they listen to the commentary which lasts for about 2 minutes, but it feels like half an hour. Like seriously, if they break too much of the pace and don't serve a purpose, it wouldn't hurt cutting it out from the movie. Just food for thought, you guys. Another problem is that if it isn't being boring, it sure as hell is being disgusting. And I know this is making me look like a hypocrite, since I like the show and don't like the movie, even if the show has gross out moments. But the problem is that the gross out in the show never went to this level. Many parts in the movie, I was just feeling sick inside and kinda made me put off my M&Ms. A few examples include Captain Hero making out with a literal corpse and treating it like it's his girlfriend, Waldor's unnecessarily realistic dick, the sex scene with Toot and Foxy, the injury detail, the part where they're stepping on kittens and puppies with high heels. You're just sure not gonna like this movie. The part where Foxy blows off the head of Mr. Wilkinson, Princess Clara's arms being chopped off, the corn rocket emitting shit, the monster that literally eats shit. It's like writing a disgusting shopping list. And even the non-gross out parts didn't bring much of a laugh from me. The most that came out from me was just a simple chuckle, but nothing beyond that. And when your movie doesn't give me stuff beyond a chuckle while your show can, then you're pretty much messed up. Speaking of messed up, that's what pretty much happened with the animation. The animation in this movie is flat out bad, both on its own and compared to the show it's based on. The animation in the show is pretty good. Not brilliant, but definitely suitable for television standards, with some nice details and designs that I could really appreciate the animators doing. But the movie? Oh boy, it was done on the cheap and it shows. It's all done in Flash as opposed to digital ink and paint, and frankly it makes the movie look generic and the movements are too jumpy for the characters. It's pretty sad when the cheaper South Park animation style in the movie looks better than the actual movie animation. The animation I feel also looks paler than the show, with paler colours compared to in the show, which is definitely noticeable on characters like Foxy, Xander, and Waldor. Even some of the character designs in the movie look off, especially Xander. I don't know what's up with his face, but it's off-putting. Much like most of this movie, funnily enough. I normally think that animated movies based on cartoons should have better animation than the show it's based on, like with the South Park, SpongeBob, and Simpsons movies, but Drawn Together isn't footing this bill. Even Aqua Teen Hunger Force's movie had better animation, even if it's mostly similar to its show. Now, is there any aspect of this movie I liked? Well, to be fair, I thought the characters, both old and new, were pretty neat, and the voice acting is still as great as ever, especially since all the regular voice actors came back reprising their roles. Spanky Handman Lingling also looks somewhat accurate to how they usually look, and in a way I thought Spanky was kinda relatable. And I admit that Israel had a pretty neat design and voice, but everything else, I'm afraid to say, I hated. If I'm gonna be honest, I feel this movie might be better if it wasn't actually a movie, but rather a double-ended special similar to what the IT crowd got, and make it part of the series itself. That way it could have a bigger budget, so not only would the animation be surely better, but so would the writing, and they would cut out a lot of the unnecessary moments in the movie. I know that's just wishful thinking, but still. This movie is just a boring, disgusting mess with no real reason for it to exist. Unless you are a Drawn Together completionist or a die-hard fan, I would stay the hell away from this movie. It may not be as bad as movies like Hard Henry the movie, where it's the most cliched and predictable thing in the world, but while I could say I wouldn't recommend the series to everyone, I'd say that I wouldn't recommend the movie to anyone. They were drawn together alright. Poorly.